Reusing questions. In this video, we will learn how to reuse questions in Blackboard tests by using a question set and a random block. Start by accessing your Blackboard course. Scroll down and under Course Management, expand Course Tools and select Test Surveys and Pools. In this page, click on Tests. Here we can build a new test, we can import a test, or we can edit an existing test. In this example, I'm going to edit an existing test that I already have, which is Quiz 1. So I'll move my mouse on top of the quiz name and click on the arrow next to it and click Edit. It opens for me the test canvas. And I can see here my test name is Quiz 1, the test description, test instructions, and I can see that this quiz does not contain any questions. Total questions is 0. I'm going to add questions to this test from other existing pools in this course. To do so, click on the Reuse Question menu. Reuse Question. And you will notice here that I have 3 options for reuse questions: Create Question Set, Create Random Block, and Find Questions. We will select Create Question Set. The Create Question Set window opens. I'm going to maximize it for a better view. We can see in this window, on the left here, I have pools, tests, question types. I can use this criteria to search for questions in my course. So I can click pools, and here I can see a list of the pools and select which pool I want to search. Or I can expand tests, and also it will display for me if there are any tests in the course, and I also can search for questions in these tests. I'm going to select this pool, Chapter 5 System Software, which contains many questions. Once I select this pool, notice here on the right, it will display for me the questions, and it says here 1 to 25 out of 75, which means there are 75 questions in this pool, and currently it displays for me 25. I can move to the next page and view the rest of the questions. I can also filter questions by using any of this criteria. For example, I can select a specific question type, or I can use any of this search criteria like categories, topics, levels of difficulty, and keywords, and these are tags that I could have used when I created the questions. I'm going to focus on question types in this example, so I will expand question types, and here I have a list of question types, and if I select true, false, it's going to display for me here at the right only the true and false questions in this pool that I selected. So I can see that there are 20 true-false questions in this pool. To view the question details, I can click this small square next to the question name, and it will display for me the details of the question. I can select the questions that I want to include in my test just by clicking the questions that I want to add, or I can select all the questions that I have displayed here in the window by clicking this checkbox at the top. Notice that when I click this checkbox, all the questions have been highlighted, and it shows me here down that I have selected 20 questions. If I am happy with this selection and I want to add this question set to my test, I can just click Submit. It takes me back to the test canvas, and notice here that I have a question set added to my test, and it says that total questions in the set is 20, but number of questions to display is 1, which means only 1 question is going to be displayed for each student from these 20 questions that I have selected. I can modify this number. For example, I want 5, and I click Submit. And now this number has changed to 5, which means 5 questions from the 20 that I have selected will be displayed to each student in the test. The questions will be selected randomly from the 20 and will be displayed randomly for each student. To view all the questions in the set, I can click this link here, questions in the set. It will display for me all the 20 questions. But as we said, only 5 will be displayed in the test for each student. Notice here on the right also I have the points for each question, and by default it's 10. If I want to, I can change this. So in case I want to change this to 2, for example, I change the number to 2 and I click submit. So now each question will worth 2 points. So for this question set, I'm going to have 10 points for the 5 questions. Notice up here also that it says the total questions in my test is 5 and total points is 10. But it shows the set as one block. Now I need to add more questions to my test, and I can add questions by any way, either creating new questions or reuse questions from other pools and tests. Again, we're going to reuse questions, and this time we're going to select a random block. Click on create random block. The random block page opens. Again, I'm going to maximize it. This is the create a random block window. A random block has many similarities with the question set. The only difference is that random block is less flexible. So the criteria that I can use to search and choose questions has less options than the question set. With a random block, I can only select questions from pools. I cannot search tests, so only pools as an option. And I can only filter questions by question type. I cannot use the other tags like categories, keywords, levels of difficulty, and so on. So only from pools and only filter by question type. Once I select the pool and the type of questions, I cannot exclude questions from the set that I get. We will see this now. So let me choose the pool that I want to select questions from. So I selected this pool, and then I have to specify the question type, either all question types, all pool questions, which is going to give me all the questions, or in my case, I just want the multiple choice type. So it displays for me the multiple choice questions here on the right, and it says here that I have 25 multiple choice questions. And as you can see, I have the list of questions, the type, the source. To view the details of any question, I can just click the square next to the question text. So click the square and it displays for me the details of the multiple choice question. As you can see on the screen, the question, the answers, the correct answer, the feedback, anything that has been set when the question was created. Let me close. Notice here that I don't have an option to select few questions. So once I selected the pool and the type of questions, I have to take all these questions into my random block. And once I'm done, I'll just click submit. I go back to the test canvas and let's scroll down to see what we have. Notice that random block has been added successfully. I'll remove this message. I can see here that I have 25 questions in this random block, and by default one question will be selected. I'm going to change this to again 5 or 10 or whatever I want. So I will type 10 and click submit. Now my random block has 25 questions. 10 of them will be displayed for each student randomly. Also the points here, I can either keep the default points 10 for each question, or I can change it to match the rest of the exam, or whatever I want for a multiple choice question. I'm going to type 2 and then click submit. So now my random block questions, each one is worth 2 points, and a total of 20 points for all. And this is my exam so far. I have question set, and I selected 5 questions from this question set. I have a random block and I selected 10 from this random block, and total points 2 for each question. So I can see here at the top that my test contains 15 questions so far, and it has 30 points. I can add more questions to this test by adding more question sets or more random blocks, or creating even new questions. When I am done adding all the questions to the test. I'll click OK to save the test. We can see here that my test quiz 1 is ready, but it's not deployed yet. We need to deploy the test to a content area in order for the students to be able to take the test. If you need more information on how to deploy the test to a content area, please review the video on deploying tests.